You're listening to the KB Podcast Network.
Hello friends, you're listening to Supernatural Living with your host Beth Packard. Today on the show, we're going to be talking about some awesome stuff concerning your dreams. Yes, that's right. We're going to talk about dreams again because I don't know if you guys caught last week, the last 2 episodes or not, but when I sat down with Jennifer Martin and we talked about the Awaken the Heart sessions that the Lord called her to, she actually got the marching orders for those through dreams. And today, I know I've talked a lot about dreams in the past, but today we're actually going to talk about dreams and callings, a calling from God and stepping into that and some of the fear that goes along with that. But I really want to just go super duper spiritual for just a minute. And I want to introduce a really amazing Disney movie actually that really touched my heart when I watched it. And I know, right? You're probably gonna guess what it is even called, because it's all about, pressing through fear and just going into the unknown and following the call on your life. And it is the one and only Moana. Yes, I love this movie. Like, seriously, there's some weird stuff in it, a little dark, but as with most Disney movies, you can see the light and darkness in them. So this is kind of where I want to go today. And I just want to share with you a little bit about what that story looks like and how God used it to help me just kind of get an idea of what he was calling me to. I hope it blesses you guys. You know how, for those of you that have seen it, in the movie, like, they're on this island and the dad has attempted, when he was a kid, he attempted to leave the island and to go out, and like some bad stuff happened. And so he allowed fear to hold him back on this island and to never leave. And he tries to hold his daughter back and tries to keep her from going. And there's something that is just calling her. And she sings this amazing song, and it's one of my favorite songs. It just like, something in it just touched me in such a way. It was like the unreachable thing that's out there that you can't touch, you can't get to. And her dad just continues to tell her no, that she'll, die, that this is just all this fear. Like, you can't leave, you can't go beyond the reef, and like, you can't go out there. And I just love it because she just feels it calling her. It's calling her and it's calling her. And there's something so freeing about that calling that's out there, and that even in the midst of all the fear that surrounds it, there's something just deep in your heart that's calling you still. There's something out there that's calling you. And I wanted to share and talk about that. One of the things, like, I'm sitting here, I'm just singing really loud again into the microphone. And I've always thought it would be really fun if I had an amazing voice and I could sing, but I always like discredit it and just say, I did not inherit that gift from my family line. And one day the Lord was like, why do you keep saying that? And why do you believe that you can't sing, Beth? And people have told me too, they're like, well, stop. Like, you can sing if you want to sing. And anyway, I'm just sitting here as I'm thinking about not just this song in this movie and that impossible like dream that she had to go and like, she ends up leaving and going and saving her entire tribe. And it's so beautiful, but it's terrifying. The things that she has to go through are so scary, but she faces that. And I just think that there's so much that we can learn, even from a Disney movie, seriously, about just facing our fears and going after what seems impossible to man. But when God has called us to something, he will equip us and he will give us the tools that we need, and he will help us step into it. And this morning I was sharing about how God in Hebrews 4:2 talks about how we have to mix our faith with the word of God. And so when God gives us a word, when he gives us a calling, when we're reading the word, it invokes action. There's always an action step that's involved in it, and we have to take action. We can't just read it and just, say amen or whatever and just go on with life. Like, that's not what Christianity is about. That's not what becoming a disciple of Jesus Christ is about. There's always an action step. And sometimes those action steps can be really scary. And anyway, I'm sitting here and I'm singing. I'm seriously delirious. And I'm singing into the microphone. And I felt like the Lord had told me back, like those desires, those things that you have in your heart, like the more time we spend in his presence, the more time we spend in the secret place with him, like he is our Father. He is our new DNA. Do you get that? Like, he's our Father. And when we surrendered our lives, when we gave up our life and we became born again as new believers, like we inherited his DNA. And I feel like he was just sharing with me, like, you have my DNA. And I guarantee you guys, God can sing. Like, I know he can sing. And so I'm just sitting here and I'm like, you can change my voice. You can change, like, I'm not saying he's going to, but he could. He could change my voice, and he could allow me to be able to belt out some songs. And I've learned a lot over the last couple of years. I've been around some really awesome worshipers, and I've been able to learn things. And I just think it's really fun that if we will press through the fear of what is keeping us from just sharing the calling that God's put on our life, the authentic way that he wants us to share with people around us, that he will equip us. He will give us the tools that we need. And so anyway, I just want to encourage you guys. I didn't have some amazing deep revelation to share with you today, but I do want to encourage you that you are unique. You are one of a kind, and you have an audience and a realm of influence around you that is different than anybody else's. And so when God calls you to speak, to open your mouth and speak, to share your heart, to share the things that he's put on you, like, you have to do it. That is what you signed up for. When you surrendered your life to Christ, you signed up for a yes to God when he calls you to do things. And so I'm just pressing you in, pushing you in, like, you signed up for this. When he calls you, he needs you to be his mouthpiece. He needs you to step through that fear, and he needs you to share with those around you. Could you imagine had I not ever even started this podcast? Like, when my brother Darren asked me to do this, I was like, yeah, I don't know. And he was like, yeah, you have to. And I'm like, sounds like just another thing, another busy thing on my schedule. And I believe that it was instrumental in showing me how important it is to share my testimony and my story with those that I am in community with, that I'm in relationship with, because sometimes we don't want to listen to a stranger. We don't want to hear something from someone that we don't trust and that we don't love. And so as we build relationship and as we build community together, and you guys get to know my heart and you know who I am, like, he's able to speak through me and share deep truths with you, and you will trust that it's from him because you know my heart. Does that make sense? Like, that is so incredible to me. It's just so important that we answer the call he puts on our life, even if it's scary. Like, back with the Moana thing, like, that was scary. Her dad had told her from a little baby that she would die if she went out there, that it was too scary, that she couldn't do it, that it was impossible. But she knew deep in her heart that it wasn't, that there was something out there she had to do. Even if it did risk her life, she was willing to do it. And I think that we need to step up. We need to step into that. Last week, the last 2 episodes, Jennifer Martin and I sat down and we talked about the Lord calling us to awaken the church, awaken the hearts of his people, and the process that she went through, the dreams that he gave her, and all of that amazingness. If you guys missed it, you've got to go back and listen to the last 2 episodes. They were just incredible, but that's part of us. We've all been called to do this. We've all been called to preach the gospel wherever, in whatever realm we're in. And so don't just think because you're a mom or you don't have a sphere of influence around you that you haven't been called to that, because we all have been called to this. If it's your child, you've been called to your child. If it's your workplace, you've been called into the workplace to share the love of Jesus with the people around you. So I just want to encourage you. I'm going to keep it short today. And I just want to encourage you to step out. Faith without works is dead. Faith without works is dead. And so if we have our faith, if we put our faith in Jesus Christ, that looks like something. It really does. There's an action involved. When he asks us and he calls us out, he expects us to step into an action and to take action. And so I just encourage you guys, if the Lord has had something on your heart that you haven't gotten done yet, that you've been dragging your feet with, I feel like that's somebody that's listening. Like if you've been dragging your feet and you haven't been stepping into what God has called you to step into, today is your day. You don't need to wait for another confirmation. Today is your day. Here's your confirmation. Step into it today. Take action. Whatever kind of action you can take, step into it and he will meet you there. I promise you, he will meet you there. He will meet you there. Step into it. One more thing before we go. Would you take action? Not just stepping into what he's asked you to do, but would you take action? Would you share, rate, review, subscribe to the podcast so that others can see it? And you know what? Just have an amazing week. Be absolutely blessed as you step into that action and you take that step into what may look impossible. And remember that you are unique. You are worthy. You are worthy of the call that he's put on your life. And just get into the work, get into the intimate place with him. Ask him to speak to you and show you those things so that you can step fully into your calling. I believe in you. He believes in you. Now you need to believe in you. Do it today. I love you guys. Until next time, be blessed.